Wilma, I'm home!
Hey, wow! Welcome back. It's a whole new. Have you ever seen the Flintstones? Were they riding on the coattails of Jurassic Park's dinosaur fever, or capitalizing on Spielberg's ability to turn anything he touches to box office gold? Perhaps the collective talents of Universal Studios just decided one day we should create the best cartoon to film adaptation ever. It's like, you can imagine them in the office. One said, someone's like, we should do it, and then someone said, that's impossible. You can't turn the Flintstones, the cartoon, or the 60s one. Is that what you're talking about? You want to turn that into a feature film? And then someone's like, you bet your ass I do. And they did it. Have you seen the Flintstones? 1994's The Flintstones is a damn good movie and truly a forgotten treasure. Now, while not directed by Spielberg himself, this Brian Levant directed ship clearly sails along with Steven Spielberg at the helm. Like it's like a boat going well, it's a movie, but the direction that it's going, it's like a boat. From its pacing to the plot to its lighthearted attention to detail, this movie deserves far more than it's credited for. Have you ever heard of Steven Spielberg?
Well, thank you for that.
Let's break it down. Okay, art direction. Holy cow, look at this. This is really good. This is incredible. This is some Lord of the Rings level stuff here. It doesn't look. It's not like Lord of the Rings is really special. It's really, really special. But this is too. The thing is, they had to make everything from scratch in those movies, and this one they did too. You can't buy a car like that. You can't, and you can't buy a house like that. But they're there, and they're living in them, and they're driving them with their feet. They've thought of everything in this movie. Like what would a trash compactor look like? There it is. Open up, big guy. Get in there, Fred. What is that, fork? Man. Anyway, this is really, 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 really incredible. And I don't think it gets it doesn't get the... Let's talk about the story a bit. It's a lighthearted plot with a beating heart, I'd say. The thing about this though is it carries enough emotional weight to deliver a real catharsis. Well, let's talk about the plot of the movie for a sec. So you got two friends. You got Fred. You got Barney, and they're friends. They drink beers that are made of rock, and they mow each other's lawns. And they work at the quarry together. Everything's happy. They got their wives and their the kids, and they're Fred's a good guy too. Fred, he's like,
I know I should have consulted you, but Barney Rubble's my neighbor, my lodge brother, and my best friend since the first time I went through the 5th grade.
Fred Flintstone.
Wilma, without that money, they wouldn't be allowed to adopt a baby.
Meanwhile, back at their job at the quarry, they have a contest, or sort of like a test, like a written test, who's going to be the next guy who moves up into the big office to be an executive, and everyone's studying for it, and then Fred does his test, and it's not any good because he's not smart. He's a big dumb idiot, and then Barney's like, I feel bad for this big dummy. He's my friend, and he helped me out, when I needed to get the baby. So I'm gonna switch his test. I'm gonna switch him. So they switch the tests, and then when lo and behold, the who's the executive now? It's Fred, and Barney's, geez, oh damn, I shouldn't have switched that test. But I'm happy for my friend. What happens? Fred turns into the big boy. He forgets about his family. He forgets about it. He forgets who he is. He's not Fred anymore. He's a big executive with bigger fish to fry. Turns out, you got these bad guys here. You got these two, and they've got a different plan. They don't actually want a new executive. They want someone to pin the blame on for when they take off with all the embezzled money from the company that they're creating with this plan, with this thing, and the rock shoots up and it goes wrong. Of course, that's going to go wrong, but they're going to take off with the money, and guess who's left holding the bag? It's Fred. It's Fred. Fred. Fred's left holding the bag, and anyway, it all gets sorted out in the end. You know, like the friendships and all the stuff. It does. You know, the big happy ending. And you know what? It's a bit silly, but I wanted them to be friends again. I cared if Fred and Barney weren't friends at the end. I would have left that theater really. I'd be pissed. I'd be spitting and kicking stuff on the way out of the theaters and stuff. And when I got in my car that night, I hadn't locked the car and I had left the window. Have you seen the Flintstones?